Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for April 2nd. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me today, Pooya. How you doing, Pooya?
I'm doing phenomenal. Last week we didn't make an appearance. We had other people take over for the 8 minutes that we were here. Today is looking more like a 20 minutes, but I'll take it. It's still better than last week. So give me those feeds. Let's talk about them.
Let's talk about them. We are here to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother Canada 9 live feeds. It was day 34 in the house. And not a whole lot to talk about. There's not much that goes on in the day before the eviction. And there's not a whole lot that goes on after the eviction either. Some light talk about the plan for the week, and then go to bed. So we do have the plan for the week, but beyond that, there's nothing too exciting here. So we'll get in and out very quickly, as I often say, but doesn't always happen. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll be here for another hour 20. That's code. That's Terran speak for we'll be here for another hour talking scenarios. We'll see. That's the thing though. It's like they had the HOH information, the stuff they gave them on the screen all overnight. So that kept them up. Obviously, they didn't give them good sleeping patterns for the night. And then that all went down yesterday. They had to say goodbye to someone. That can be exhausting. So when the feeds came on last night, they were all pretty much like, can we go to bed now? Like, how about you just let us sleep? So it was very quiet for what should have been probably like a little bit more active.
Yeah. So really the only thing that happened of note prior to the eviction is that Braden basically had it confirmed to him that Vic was the HOH. He was talking with her, and she screwed up and like forgot that she was supposed to have a vote that week, and didn't count herself, and so it was like, oh, okay, it's her. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and didn't she tell somebody amongst the three of Roe, Austin, Bray that she had more comp wins than like something like she alluded to something else as well, which broke the mirror for them of like, oh, it was her. And then Roe did say yesterday to some extent of, wow, she did a very good job of hiding it, but the noms weren't great. And I was like, Roe, Roe, you're disappointing me, bro, with these lack of reads. It's really bothering me, but hey, do you?
Yeah. So Austin is going to be evicted unanimously. Beth is going to win the HOH. And we talked about this last night, but Beth is now in a position. It's pretty vital for her game that she go after Vic, but it's definitely not in the interest of Ty and Jed that she do so. So we are definitely in an interesting holding pattern here with Bethel's HOH. But when the feeds came back, it was Beth, Ty, Jed, Kiefer, and Braden in the HOH room, all rubbing each other's backs, as Tina and Tara said, and talking about how funny it is that Braden thought Ty was the HOH when it's obviously Vic.
Yeah, Tina and Tara were having a bit of a pity party when the feeds came on. Just a little pity party, not a big pity party, but they were definitely not chilling with everybody right out the gate. I think it's very interesting because I will 100% agree that Beth's move for Beth is Victoria going. Beth's move for the lads is Roe potentially going. So this is where Beth's going to make that big decision that kind of came to light last week. So to be clear, if the editing was on point in this show, and it sometimes misses the mark, and by sometimes I mean a lot of the times, we would see continuity between Beth having those thoughts in last week and then coming into this week and all of that playing out in front of you. It's not going to play out that way. Spoiler alert. Okay. It's just not.
Yeah. So Tina and Tara are in the bedroom for most of the night, talking strategy, which they are pretty correct in their strategy. But the social aspect is being ignored here, as Braden hangs out in the HOH room pretty much all night. Now, Braden does have more of an excuse. He just lost Austin and he has nowhere else to go. And we were expecting that this might be where he does end up going. And correctly so, he's hanging out with them the whole time. And he's already talking about like, well, we'll have the numbers. us. And so he is integrating himself well, while Tina and Tara are kind of just like, should we be in there? But they're just rubbing each other's backs. Like, what are we supposed to do? It's like, no, yeah, just go in there. That's it.
Yeah, like,
At least send Tina in there, because Tina has a relationship with these. Leave Tara out because she's a lost cause, but send Tina in there.
yeah, Tara will stay complaining about something regardless. Tina 100% has enough footing here. See, you've been Taryn, you've been complaining about Tina's lack of action, and obviously there's parts of me that's been like, let her coast. Like, it's early in the game. The jury's starting next week. Like, you need to be in every room. You need to be at least involved. You need to be at least a pair of ears in the room. Like, I don't care if you don't care for their rubbing backs and cracking jokes about Josh for the 6th week in a row. Be there. Fake laughter. You need to do these things. They're very important, especially if, later on, if something was to happen to people that you are working with, you need to have the finesse to pull it off where they stay. And I know you want that. And I know you're going to be upset if that doesn't happen. It's very frustrating to me. It's very frustrating to me because Tina's playing a great, I'm going to survive week to week, I'm not touching the block week to week, but I think that she's missing the mark on trying to set herself up to turn tides at some point. Because at this point, if the tide turns on her, she has no paddle. She will get hit. So it's unfortunate to see that she's just letting it happen.
Yeah, and I am seeing I'm seeing in the chat, and I have seen this sentiment as well, that like, oh, she chose the wrong side. But I do disagree with that. I think that Tina chose the right course of action. If Tina was just, in the spot of, Brayden or whatever right now, she would just be, the number 6, 7 with nowhere else to go. It's good that she has people on the other side. The problem is that they just kept losing, and that's the real issue. And so, like, if the Sunsetters were always going to win these competitions, then she was always going to be number 4, 5, 6, whatever, which is where she currently still is anyway, right? She's not in any danger this week. So I can't fault the path that she took, but I still wish that she had been trying to. The real failure, I think, is in failing to influence Vic, losing Vic to the guys, and not sort of directing the Sunsetters in the direction that she would like them to go, right? And that's going to be the challenge for her this week, which I think it's possible for her to succeed, but I think it's unlikely given how passive she's played so far.
Yeah, I think that her opportunities to collect more agency to use later on in the game are fleeting at this point. She's letting it slip through her fingers, and week by week, there's been a couple of people in this house that have not touched the block that have been able to coast. And I feel like the other players are collecting that agency, and she's just kind of like been complacent because for weeks it was being argued that she's in a good spot. She's in the middle of everything. She's involved. She's going to be safe. That's all great, great, great. But I feel like there's not been enough done where she'll find herself moving up any ranking. She's not finding herself moving up anyone's like priority list. She's kind of just been in the same place while other people are getting closer. So it's like, even if she was in 4th place, the gap between 3rd and 4th is getting bigger. Like it's getting way too big now. Like, she needs to shut it down. And it's not like we're asking her to make a whole mountain. Just be in the room. Just have the conversations. Just chill with them. Chill. Listen, I know they're not part of the pre-90s, but like, you can laugh at some of their jokes. Some of it's not funny, not witty. They're out here rubbing backs. You have to rub anybody's back. Just be in the room. Sometimes just being in the room makes it feel like you care. That's all that really matters. So in moments like this, I cannot co-sign leaving the room and being alone when you allow someone who was just on the block to even get in closer with the people that you were closer with initially. I can't allow it. It's too much.
Yeah. So I will give them credit in the sense that they are talking about the week. They pretty much immediately recognize this is probably going to be Ro and Tara on the block. But what we can't do is throw Ro under the bus or throw Vic under the bus yet, because we may end up needing their votes to make sure that Tara stays over Ro or Vic or Brayden or whoever. So we have to play this very carefully. there's obviously some information they can drop on Vic to Beth. But if they do it too soon, or if they do it in the wrong way, they're just going to end up like Kyle and Ro did in the previous weeks when they tried it. So they have to use this information wisely and not turn Vic against them so soon. As of right now, Vic should want Ro out over Tara. And so if they keep Vic on board and they keep the whole house on board, then they should be okay. I like that they're being careful. The reads from Tina at the very least have been some of the best in the house, and she does know that she needs to play this carefully. They were even talking this morning that Tina is going to continue to play up like, if you guys need to send Tara home, I'm cool with that, to make it seem like she's willing to play in her own direction. And she is also trying to tell Tara, like, and this is not something that Tara is very capable of, but she's telling Tara, like, okay, what you need to do is, you're pissed about the fact that people keep saying your name. Obviously, they're the ones saying your name. But what you need to do is try to imply that it's Ro, that you feel like Ro has been saying your name a lot. Don't actually say Ro's name, but try to imply it in that direction. And then maybe they'll feel like, again, like if Ro wins that veto, that they would want you in the game to still combat potentially Ro, and give them more of an option to put somebody like Vic on the block. So the plans are coming into place. I like what I'm hearing, but I think that they have a little bit of an uphill battle here for the week.
So why do you think they have? What's the uphill battle aspect of it?
So the uphill battle is that they're fighting against the guys, right? The guys who have a lot more influence on Beth. In the HOH room last night, really the last real conversation of the night is Beth, Jed, and Brayden. Beth says that she wants Ro to go this week. Tina and Tara are correct. Ro is the target. Ro will be on the block. Brayden asks if Tara will be up next to Ro, and she says, yeah, probably. So, again, correct. Brayden says, okay, well then what happens if one of them wins the veto? You're just going to throw up like Tina? And this is where Brayden's like, I'm not the pawn, right? Tina's going to be the pawn. And this is where Brayden being in the HOH room could, I talked about this last week. Tina and Brayden were basically fighting for who might be a pawn in this exact situation. And Tina was winning last week. Tina was doing a lot of Sunsetter work, and it was looking like Tina was going to win. But I was saying we could see what happens next week. Once Austin is gone, Brayden might be in with the guys. He might be in there hanging out with them all the time. That's exactly what happened. And it does seem like, so far, Tina is now losing the pawn battle. If it comes down to a pawn, because Beth's response is, well, could put up Tina, or could backdoor Vic.
And this is very good for me. Just throw it out there, see if it fits, see how people feel. And I feel like they didn't really hold back on this opinion. They kind of talked quickly about the pros and cons of it. Obviously, I feel like it might have been scaled back a little bit now, potentially. But in the moment, everything sounded perfect. They're loading up their bases. That's good. And I do think that playing this carefully, because one of the things we've said about the Sunsetters, especially in the weeks early, they were doing too much. They're like 17 scenarios going out there. They're trying to be very quiet. They're trying to be very sneaky. In a week like this, knowing there's a pending double, it's good to think of every scenario, and it's good to play it as if you want everyone to be happy, because that is when the pin can drop at a double.
Yeah. So she throws this possibility out there, and that can't leave. I don't know why she said it in front of Brayden. She regretted saying it in front of Brayden the next morning. But I guess she was just feeling the vibes. But she got some decent responses. I mean, the response was not, no, we shouldn't do that. The response was like, needs to be done at some point. And then they go on to talk about what a big threat she is, what a wild card she is, what a big liar she is, how she always latches on to the HOH, that she tries to sell herself as like, I'm alone, I'm a free agent, she's just going to slide by. It wouldn't be a bad move at all to backdoor Vic. And so, we know that Beth has been considering this. We know that Vic has been after Beth. So this is for sure the move here for Beth. She should really not even be relying on a backdoor situation. She should be planning a backdoor situation. But I think that she is. I think that she's testing the waters here, and I think that she's a little scared herself. She's always been somebody that's said, if I'm HOH, I'm worried about putting certain people on the block. And so I think that she would like to do this, but I don't know if she has I don't know if she has the audacity to actually make it happen.
That pronunciation sent me last night. That was a lot to take in one sentence. Yeah, I mean, I think that ultimately it's gonna be very hard for her to execute. I think that obviously, logically, looking at all the names on paper, this is one person she can remove who she doesn't even have that good of a connection with, and like keep other people that she has more of a connection with over the guys having connections with those people. However, then there's a couple of things she needs to do on her side. She needs to believe in herself that she's going to be able to convince the guys that, hey, we're good. I'm good. This was not a move against anybody. This is for me. Does she have the facilities to do that? Does she have the facilities to then survive the block should people put her and Jed up right after? Because honestly, that's the thing where I don't necessarily know if she knows this or if she sees this, but I was going to ask you, do you think at this point people are going to, now that the two of them were the last two in this comp, it's going to be fresh on mind coming into the next HOH where, you know, they were the last two. They're going to be spending a lot of time in this HOH room probably this week. Is she now in people's view more so than before? And would that mean that no matter what she does this week, she's still probably going to end up on the block?
Here's my view. If she goes the straight way here and takes out Ro, I think she then has Kiefer, she has Vic, both targeting specifically her. They would want her gone next. Vic and Kiefer will not bother with Brayden. They both will not bother with Tina and Tara. They will go straight at Beth, I believe, especially in a double eviction. So that's two people. Tina and Tara will still probably go after the guys, but they may just skip over Ty and go straight for Beth and Jed, because that feels like the two that needs to be broken up more. If Jed wins a veto, I could see Beth taking that hit because she didn't listen to them this week. She's clearly just working for the guys anyway. And if she's winning competitions and Ty is not, I could see that shot being taken at her. If Brayden wins, I have no idea what he's going to do at this point. I would assume he still goes after the guys, but maybe after a week of sucking up to them, he may fall under the spell. I don't know. But you know, as of right now, I think she's in a very bad spot in terms of next week heading into the double eviction, where she should be protected by these guys, but the guys are starting to get into a position where they might be more protected than even her. Whereas if she takes the shot at Vic, protects Tina and Tara, protects Brayden, protects Ro, then I think all of those people keep her off the block. They solely put up Ty and Jed, and that is a much better spot for her to be in. Kiefer is maybe the only person that would still try to take a shot at Beth, but the problem is he can't because he still has Ro to deal with. And so I don't think even he would do that. He might put up Beth and Ro, maybe, and that would probably just send Beth home, and he'd probably realize that. So I think she's in a much better position if she sends Vic out the door than Ro. But I don't know that she sees that.
And in the midst of all this, I think is a good time to bring up subtly. It's amazing how these people are all supposed to be aligned, but it's the way that they all want to be with the boys so badly that they want to pluck each other off to like get further with the guys. It's phenomenal. Like, again, I said this on the roundtable on too, but kudos to both Jed and Ty for being able to have social game like this, where no one's looking at them being like, why do they get to be in that position? I want to be in that position. They're like, I want to be next to them. So here's what I need to do to make that happen. And I do think that Beth is a juicy target for them in the double, because this is one of those moves where, you know, if you're Victoria and you want to put up Beth, you're going to have to go through a lot of motions to, you know, a lot of energy to use. Whereas in a double, you can just, you know, Thanos it, snap your fingers, and she's gone. So I think I see Beth being in a lot of danger coming Thursday for sure.
Yeah. Now, so that was basically the night, but this morning, Beth was talking to Jed, and he was kind of working a little magic on her, saying he doesn't think that Vic going up is the right call necessarily. And she, it seemed, was being swayed by that, and saying, yeah, maybe we should wait for a potential double. They do think one is coming up. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe we stay to the safer play here. So I can see Beth going back and forth. It seems like, again, I think Beth is somebody who is inclined to take the safer play. I think she's also somebody that's inclined to listen to what the guys tell her to do. So both of those things are going to lean toward not taking the shot at Vic if the veto is won or used. However, again, there is some stuff with Tina and Tara. They are going to be trying to make this work. Ro will be trying to make it work. There is some information. Vic has been dropping Beth's name a lot with Kiefer, with Tina and Tara. She's been telling Tara that Beth is coming after her. Beth does not know some of this information. If she knew how much Vic was coming after her, how much Vic was trying to pin the invisible HOH on her last week, she knew she was trying to, but she doesn't know the extent to which she was trying to. She may end up changing her decision. Who knows how Vic will react if the veto is won and she finds out that she might be in some danger. So there's still a possibility, I think, that this backdoor could happen. But it seems like right now the main plan is Ro, backup, Tara, possibility of Vic.
Yeah, possibility of Vic, and then obviously if Vic doesn't go, they're gonna pawn up either Tina or Brayden, right? Yeah. That's the move. Yeah.
More likely to be Tina right now, but again, like Tina hasn't even talked with Beth yet, so there's still some things that could be up in the air. But as of right now, I'd say most likely it's Tara, Ro. If the veto is won and used, Tina's the replacement. Small chance of Brayden as a replacement, and also a small chance of a Vic backdoor. But either way, Ro or Tara should be leaving. Even though these people do like to consider flips, it seems pretty unlikely that they would. Tara is probably the one person that they would all be happy to take out of this game.
Yeah, I think that's the casualty. You're like, okay, that's fine. That's where we can move on with this. This will be good. So real quick, I have a scenario question for you. Let's say that let's say both Beth and Jed are fine in the game, right? They're safe. Like there's no like external factors in this. We've clearly been seeing her kind of, talk to Jed and be like, you don't really, this is not your subtle way of telling me this, is it? Like she's like joking about him not being with her all the way to the end, and it's come up once or twice now. How many, if no other external factors are going to impact this, how many weeks do you think before she decides I can't with him? Like he's not going to be my end game. He's not going to let me get there. Do you think that's even possible? I just want to know like an estimation here.
Beth and Jed, I think she's with him to the end personally.
Yeah. I figured that was going to be the
honestly,
case.
I think he's with her to the end as well. I believe him when he says he'll take her to the end. Things could always change, but I think they're in it for the long haul here. I think I'm definitely leaning much more toward the side of Ty, or Jed will pick her over Ty at this point.
Okay. Good
I don't think that's I don't think that does much for her. I think she still loses against Jed at this point, but yeah.
All right.
So really that's what we've got going on here. We did have some talk about Brayden and Ty. We had a little bit of that. Where they implied that maybe there was a little bit more going on.
Yeah, can we? I mean, I was about to say, can we talk about that? But there's really not much to talk about. But what I want to talk about is like they keep hiding this. They keep cutting feeds over this, and I can't quite understand why. Because you know, we've clearly heard a lot of the monologues about, you know, Beth and Ty, Beth and Jed. Why is this any different? You know, I'm batting my eyelashes at you, big brother. I don't know what the case is here that you've decided this can't be on feeds. So I don't appreciate that. But yeah, the last night, anytime this was coming up, it immediately got cut. Bray was about to say something to Beth, got cut. And I don't quite understand why, to be honest.
Yeah, it's certainly not. I think an indication that we're gonna see much of this on the episodes, considering that they don't even want us to see it on the feeds. So I'm my only guess here is that they're concerned about potential controversy. That there's been some discussion about this already in the community, and maybe they're just trying to shy away from this as much as possible. But it's honestly kind of frustrating.
Yeah, like it really is frustrating because like would the controversy be stemmed from people saying that this is just being used as like a game mechanic ploy and it's no genuineness behind it? Like it's like that's a little bit nasty. We don't like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So then, like that, I understand, but even then, I'm like, this is a conscious decision someone in the house is making. Like to me, if this is genuinely, Ty's decision of I'm using this for malicious gameplay only, I'm working him to like get myself further. That's a conscious decision he's making in the game. So I don't know if like there's no face saving there for me. Whereas like, for example, something with Tara, like, the microaggressions that went on, like that is not okay, period. That deserves to have game talk. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking about this without thinking about this. So maybe it's on the same level and they should be cutting it, but I don't think so. I think that you know what? Live decisions. if Beth was doing this with playing both the guys to like get herself further in the game, they're showing us all that. They should show us the other with Ty and Bray. No excuses, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't get it. It is frustrating because obviously, let's say even if it is behind the guise of gameplay, that's gameplay that we're not going to know about. If it has implications for later, we're just not going to know about it. So not cool with it.
Yeah. And people are pointing out that that they did show, Kevin and William on the episodes, but I think they got blowback for showing Kevin and William on the episodes.
Oh.
And so I'm wondering if because of that they are now not showing. But really this only seems to like imply that Ty is in the diary room saying that this is all strategy and game. Right? Like, otherwise, why would this be something that you would want to cut away from? Right? So I feel like they're only incriminating themselves.
Right. And like, I mean, someone in the chat mentioned the whole, like, Ty and Jed clearly flirting with Victoria for game progression as well. So like, if like, again, it seems shady and it seems hypocritical because it seems like specifically because it's not a hetero relationship, it's getting blocked. Now, obviously, I don't know if that's specifically the reason. I don't know if it's worry for blowback because then why is this happening? I'm not sure. Maybe it is they are worried about like Kevin and William was the thing that gave them blowback. Maybe that's what it is. We'll have to monitor the situation and see it get further. So let's see what's happening moving forward. But it was a bit of an eye opener to me, be like, come on, Big Brother Canada, like you wouldn't do this. Why are you not doing this? But yeah.
Yeah. So that's really what we have here in terms of the feeds from yesterday. I'm sure there's going to be lots more talk about potential plans for the future today, but it does look like Tara and Ro will be up on the block by tonight. And then the veto is going to be very important here in terms of which one of the two ends up going home and who could potentially end up going on the block.
Yeah, I'm very keen to see how this plays out. Obviously, this could be gearing up to be more of a very obvious week of, okay, this is cut and dry. These are like the three people that are going to touch the block. But us knowing the implications that on Thursday there's going to be a second person out the door, us knowing that the jury is starting, that's good information for us, because that still does give us more excitement for watching feeds this week, because we know that a lot of these things they're thinking about for next week are going to happen that night. Now, I didn't pay attention from this lens, but they're not completely on to this upcoming week being a double, are they? Or have they started thinking about it smart?
They're suspecting that it might be, but obviously they don't know for sure.
Okay, so that makes it exciting for me too. If they're not like 100%, because obviously some of the wind coming out of the sails of some other seasons with some more A+ players has been, well, next week's going to be this, so let's plan for it. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that goes. I'm excited. One thing I do want to bring up is that Bray was talking to Jed last night, and they were talking about, like, Jed was asking about how the jury works, and Bray was like, yeah, so a friend of mine who didn't get voted in, alluding to our very own Kirsten, told me that the jury's like X, Y, Z, whatever. And Jed was like, how would she know? She didn't go to the jury. How would she know? And Bray's like, well, she has friends here. He's like, but how would she? I was like, Jed, what is your problem? What is it? Like, I love that Jed's biggest qualm is the validity of this news. Like, he's going to like break it otherwise. It was wild.
Well, I mean, I understand where Jed was coming from. Like, he was very confused, first of all, because Braden was being very vague about who he was talking about, and he was trying to refer to like that. There's, I think they mentioned the sunset person. Like, there's somebody that they'll all know in jury that's going to be managing jury, and that they'll be excited to see. And so he was trying to refer to that person, but also refer to his friend. And so Jed kept getting confused about which person was being referred to. And so he was like, wait, so how do you know about this thing? He's like, from my friend. And he was like, but you said your friend didn't make the jury. And he was like, well, yes, but she knows people who went to the jury. She's like, oh, okay. But he was just very confused. I don't think there was any Kirsten shade meant to be thrown there.
No, and I don't think, bless his heart, I don't think Jed has the trivia like that either. So I don't think he would have remembered even. It was just more of he like was nitpicking on like but like how? Give me like more information. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what we have for you guys from yesterday. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about The Circle.
And I'm very stoked. The Circle literally has not stopped being fun. Every week I've had something I want to talk about. I told you right before we went live, I'm with anticipation ready to just like burst about talking about this episode with you that I just watched yesterday. So we're going to talk about all of that tomorrow, Saturday, obviously 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Right. There we go. We'll be live 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm very excited.
There you go. You can also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. We'll be playing some more Fall Guys today, probably, if you want to come and hang out. And then we'll have some more Among Us on the week in the weekends. On the weekends, we'll have some fun there. I'm, of course, live every morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that happens on the Big Brother Canada 9 live feeds. And then we'll be back on Monday to recap everything going on that next Monday night episode. Pooya, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter and Twitch, Pooyaism, for both platforms. I am taking a stream hiatus until Among Us on Sunday. It is my anniversary today, so I'll be taking the weekend off hanging out with Liana. Outside of the Circle, of course. Gotta be there for the Circle. I'm not gonna miss my takes for the Circle. But it's gonna be a fun, low-key weekend for me. Obviously, we'll be back with the new map for Among Us on Sunday. 90 Day Fiancé is about to wrap up. We have one more episode, I believe, for this season. It's been a pleasure talking to Rob about it every week. You can check that out. And then Masked Singer, the second wild card, was released a couple days ago. We're gonna talk about that actually later today. So you can keep your eyes out for that podcast as well. Going to be very exciting. And listen, every show that I'm watching right now is great. This is a very weird time in my life where I don't have anything to complain about for any of the shows. I'm enjoying all of them very much. So, count your blessings. Count your TV blessings right now if you can, everybody.
There you go. It's also never been a better time to start becoming a patron of Rob as a Podcast. Start of the month. You get a whole fresh month of April of patronage. So check that out. Go become a patron of Rob as a Podcast. Support everything that we do here. Thank you all for joining us.